Hi everybody, it's Marty Mercer once again down here at Lurvey Garden Center in Des Plaines. Wanted to meet with you guys today, talk to you about a couple of very interesting things that we're doing as part of what we do here as horticulturalists at Lurvey. We are pretty definitive on wearing masks and social distancing. However, right now I have plenty of distance, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my mask, and that is a pleasure. So a couple of things. One, we're going to talk about some plants that we're growing in raised beds. It's a trend that people are moving towards, and one of the nice things about what we're talking about today is that we can see that raised beds, if we do it correctly, right soil mix, blah, 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 they're very successful. So anyhow, just as a fun kind of thing for us to have a few little tidbits during our lunch break, we're growing a couple of tomato plants here in this raised bed. We have a couple of peppers and some basil, and as you can see, they're doing really, really well. So that's fun, and that's kind of a cool thing that we can do as we go about our day here. But the most important thing that I want to talk today about is Peanut Project 2020. 2018, we had some peanut plants come in. I thought, I've never grown peanuts. How do they work? And so forth. So I planted up 3 peanut plants in a large container. It's a long process to maturity. So even though we had the shortest days of maturity with the particular species we're growing, it was still 100, 120 days. But that's okay. It worked out well. Harvested the peanuts, had enough peanuts from those 3 plants in a container to last an entire ball game for somebody like me. So it was really cool, really successful. So we expanded Peanut Project to now we're at Peanut Project 2020. They're doing really well. I started these at home, germinated them. I have a grow light system. Germinated them in 1st of April, brought them in. They're little babies. Let them harden off a little bit before we put them in the full sun. Planted them, and now we can see that they're doing really quite well. They're really healthy, beautiful. The plant themselves, the foliage, the structure, it's a little unusual and kind of unique to the peanut plant. But what I want to talk about mostly is how fascinating they are. And this is something that we do, this kind of project here at Lurvey, all of us generally, we love what we do. We want to further our knowledge and skill set. And so, just so you guys are aware, we love this business of horticulture. And we want to share that with you by this interesting plant, peanuts, and also to reassure you that when you come in, we're going to do everything we can to teach you, to help you. And that teaching is a two-way street. When you guys come in, ask us questions, you're also teaching us. So thank you very much. The peanut plant has little yellow flowers. It's a complete flower, both male and female reproductive organs. That's how a flower is a self-pollinating flower. Now what's really cool about the flower and the fertilization is once the flower is fertilized, the flower, it's incredible, actually turns itself to face to the soil, which is unusual. But the reason it does that is because the fertilized, what we call a peg, inside that flower extends from the flower and starts to move itself down. It has the fertilized eggs on the tip of it, and it moves down and pushes itself into the soil down in next to the root zone. And that's where the peanut grows and becomes what we typically know and see as a shelled peanut. The other interesting thing is once they get down there and they start to develop, they actually turn horizontal. Who knows why, but they do. It's a beautiful thing. So these plants eventually are going to be somewhere, they're in a container, so the plants tend to grow to the size of the container. So they're going to be somewhere 24, 30, 32 inches tall. And we'll get, believe it or not, quite a few peanuts out of here. They flower typically at the base, but we get flowers up at the top in the middle, and those also then, once they're fertilized, that peg will move all the way down. It may be 18 inches up in the plant, but it will move all the way down, push itself once again into the soil, locate itself next to the root structure, and make another peanut. Another interesting thing about the peanuts, sometimes we have a peanut, we open it up and there's only one nut in there. That's because only one of the ovaries got fertilized. This particular variety, Tennessee Red, should have somewhere between 3 and 5 nuts inside the shell. That all depends, 3, 4, 5. It all depends on how many of the ovaries on the tip of that peg are fertilized. It's really pretty fascinating and unusual. This kind of behavior, you would think it's almost intelligent. Of course, obviously it's an evolutionary adaptation to not allow pests, whatever that, varmints, critters, to get down there and eat the peanut, because the peanut is exactly how the plant reproduces itself. So it's a really clever thing. We will update you as we go forward. We are going to try to get, there's a couple of these flowers that have these little tiny thin pegs. We'll try to get an image of that for you today. But as we go forward, we'll have better examples of what that peg is, the width of it, so on and so forth, so you guys can actually see. And then somewhere around the end of September, 1st of October, we'll bring you back in and then we'll harvest them. And you can see how much success we had, how many peanuts we had. And the harvesting is a process in and of itself, not a big deal. So the point is, we can grow almost anything. If we're invested in our plants, if we're invested in nature, if we appreciate the variety that the natural world affords us, we can do almost anything. It's a beautiful experience. So the last thing I want to say about the peanut flower, it's a 5-petal flower. 5 is a Fibonacci number. Look it up, Fibonacci sequence. In other words, there's incredible, beautiful harmony in this plant. 5 petals, Fibonacci number. So I guess that's it for today. Thanks so much for being with us. Check us out on social media. Come in and see us. I'm Marty. I'm here every day except Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And if you'd like, ask Marty about the peanut plants and you'd like to see them up close and personal, be more than happy to share. You guys have a great day. Look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for your time. Keep growing food. Have fun.